Everybody, how you doing? I'm Pabs, a wrestling VTuber and an artist, and today we're going to be working a little bit on a new comic page. Yeah, page 14, we're almost done. Hard to believe. And I actually have an idea for what I want to do with this one. I had a first draft of it, actually. Hang on. Let me close this window first, because I do not need two of these. Yeah, I had an idea for what to do with this one, though. I made like a draft of the first couple panels, but I wasn't super happy with it. So yeah, you can see them here. Like these are some objectively good panels, but I wasn't happy with how they were flowing. Really. Also, I have a bunch of helicopter control panel references here. Don't mind those. Don't look away. Look away. You don't need to see those. Don't mind it. Don't mind it. Okay. So here's the idea. I'm going to stuff all of these into a new folder, except for the copies of the gutters that I'm making right now. Actually, you know what? Those can go in the folder too. Why not? That way we just have a nice clean border to work with. And almost immediately we're going to copy and paste that border and then just drag this part. Is that like a third? I want to say a third. I want to like drag it to a third of its original size. There is a purpose to this. There is like a reason that I am doing this. Oh my god, look at how clean and thin that line looks now. But yeah, the reason I wanted to do this, and actually, hang on, I got another idea for how we can make it a little bit thicker. I remember that you can apply these to, yeah, there we go. Wait, did I choose thicken or narrow? I think I chose narrow. Oh no, I obliterated the line. Now what shall we have for dinner? Okay, yeah, that should be good. Okay. So yeah, the idea was that actually we can make this just a little bit tinier, just a little bit tinier. I don't want it to feel cramped, but I do want this, like I don't want this area to feel cramped, but I do want this area to not feel cramped also. It's a little bit of a balancing act. All right, let's make a new set of gutters. Okay. The one thing I do wish I had was a more convenient way to use like the grid. Because the thing is, right, if I go to grid, like that's pretty, well, I need to, hang on, I need to first do, oh, actually that works pretty good. What the hell was I saying then earlier? I don't have a problem with this grid at all. Although I should make this line a little bit thinner, say like maybe 10 width. Maybe a little more, 15. There we go. The problem is the smaller you go with the line, the more difficult it is to use the grid. Also, hang on, I'm going to turn off the grid. I have an idea, another idea. Yet another fabulous idea from me. Let's see. Kind of underestimated how big the entire like left border of this page would be. I feel like that might come back to bite me in the future. Well, so it goes. Let me take another look at the script real quick, too. Just in case. I want to make sure that my vision can match this. Like, Raph gave me a lot of liberty in terms of panel composition and just like changing up different things in the page. But I still want to kind of like rely a little bit on the original part. Okay. Creo que entiendo. Okay. Actually, a straight line should be fine here. Maybe not so straight of a line, though. Like half straight? 50% straight. Straight enough that if you like took a close look at it, or if you sat at the wrong angle, you would be able to tell that it's crooked. But otherwise, like if you're taking a picture or something, it just looks straight. That is the most bothersome error to have when you're trying to like hang up a painting or something, is just having it be just bad enough that you can't justify to yourself to not be bothered by it, or like to not notice it, but also not bad enough that you need to go fix it. Those are the things that really get you, I feel like those are the kinds of circumstances where you just like let it get bad, is those where you're like, nah, this is fine, I can handle this. The problem is like we don't consider how long we might need to handle it for. So I feel like it overall it just has a lot of negative consequences for what I'm gonna call like mental fortitude. Yeah, I don't know about this. Okay. New idea for how this is gonna go. We're gonna do something very bold and exciting that I haven't done yet, I don't think. We are going to. Alright, first what we need to do is we need to call back the original border. And then what we need to do. Yeah, there's not going to be an easy way to do this, is the problem. No, but on the other hand, I could just make this space narrower and just have a little bit more space back here. Yeah, this might work actually. Hang on. Just a little less. I'm trying to find like that sweet spot. There we go. Okay. This should work. This has to work. Whenever I get too caught up in what I'm going to call like trying to make something work, I start sounding more like a mad scientist. Like, no, they called me crazy for this, but I'll show them all. It's fun. I have a little fun with it. What was I gonna call this layer? Not gutters. It's gonna be something else, like a line work probably. I can call this one gutters now. I've always noticed a little bit, right? It's something that I've noticed over time, that a lot of like the comics terminology is kind of not disrespectful. What's the word? Like it's like not disrespectful, but like also not showing disrespect of. It's like it has like the same vibe as the word like fling. It's not indifferent. It's flippant. There we go. There we go. That's why I thought of fling. It's flippant. All right. Yeah, a lot of the language used to make comics or used in making comics is very flippant, I've noticed. Like, when you have a rough draft that, you deliberately don't make too much effort, put too much effort into, you call it like an ash can, because people used to use, crappy little drafts like that to just like dump their cigarette ash, which is kind of a fire hazard if you think about it. I'm actually quite worried for the health of those people, of the cartoonists from those days. To be fair, they would have likely starved to death before. I listen. The art industry is super difficult now. I bet, like, even back then, it was really, really hard to get a leg up. Like during the industrial era, jeez, dude, don't even tell me about it. I don't know. Maybe it was good, and I just don't know how it is or was. I mean, to be honest, I know like manga publishing schedules are pretty hellish, so I don't have a reason to like defend those, for example. But from what I understand, like American comic work is like a monthly deal, right? And you have like a lot of assistants, or you're at least supposed to have at least a few assistants, or different people doing different parts of the job. Like some dude is online, some people are on like scripts, some people are on colors. So it's more of a collaborative effort rather than one dude trying to marshal like six other people, or six being a lot. Like I don't know how many. I don't know how many assistants is like the average for like a manga. I'm guessing three is like a medium number because you have to salary those people, right? Like it's almost like an like I imagine it's like Loki an apprenticeship kind of deal where you have to kind of like toil under this one dude who knows basically a lot about the industry and like what a lot about drawing, and he's like, all right, I'm going to teach you what I know, and in return you get to do my backgrounds for me, and you have to be like, yay. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but at least I hope they have like some kind of fair compensation. They don't, but like I hope they do, at least eventually. Maybe this one I can turn around a little. Oh, this is fun. It's like an airplane. Okay. Copy that, put this down, flip this around. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. Hmm. Okay, flip this around like this. It's actually kind of good for me to work with like slightly narrow spaces because that will train me to be respectful of how much space dialogue takes up. Oh man, I feel like sometimes I do wonder if Raph should have killed me a long time ago for giving him as little space as I do for some of the text bubbles in this comic. Now, see, here's another issue. I don't want this gutter perfectly lining up with this square here, even though all of my senses say, "But look, like I don't know. There's something very pleasing about like geometric patterns like this that just kind of get caused by overlapping lines. I mean, you could argue that that's true of any pattern, right? Like it's just that any pattern is just overlapping lines. But suppose for a second. Suppose for a second that I didn't know that. Not sure about this one, boss. This one could stand to be a little lower. Okay. Wait, did I accidentally drag this off to the side? I think I did. Whoops. Just trying to make sure that I have enough space for everything I want here. It's also starting to get to be that time of the year again when things start getting colder. Gotta say, not a fan. I know a lot of people that I'm friends with aren't super huge in summertime, but consider this: you were not born in a tropical climate. Maybe you might have been born in a tropical climate. I don't know your life, but you weren't born in a tropical climate and then forced to live in a place where it snows for like 5 months out of the year. Every single time. Good luck with comic stuff. Thanks, Adept. Yeah, no, I played myself more than anything when I decided to move to a place that has snow. Boo Boo the Fool is me. Yeah. Oh yeah, I was talking earlier about like different manga and stuff, right? Why the hell are people all of a sudden jumping on the on the Kagura Bachi hype train? I swear I've seen that little nerd with his sword just about everywhere I can think of. In Twitter, everywhere I can think of on Twitter. I haven't seen him on Tumblr yet, which is probably a good thing. I don't know. I feel like if somebody tried to do the Kagura Bachi hype on Tumblr, they would be. I feel like they would be put in like the stocks or something, the equivalent thereof on the site. Like that's not how we do things here. Could I lower this just a touch, just a little bit more? Or okay, that might work actually. Okay. All right, now we enhance the line work a little bit, right? I think we've got the panel layout figured out. Maybe just one last thing though. One more thing. Okay, that should be good. I hope. Please let that be good. All right, so here's the idea, right? Hawk falling after getting blasted by the huge explosion. Right. I drew that sick ass explosion. Was that a week ago now? No, it must have been less recent, right? Like I remember drawing the explosion fairly recently, but not that recently. Maybe a week ago. Maybe a week ago. I don't know. A lot of stuff can happen in a week. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a hectic couple. September has been kind of hectic for me so far. But it's been like a weird kind of state of limbo where I feel like it's hectic, but it's. I don't know. Maybe I'm just having an off month. For some reason, I feel like September is just kind of come and gone already. Right? We're only like on the 21st night of September. Right? A shout out to Earth, Wind, and Fire. But No, something's definitely been wrong with the flow of time this month. Or at least, not wrong, maybe, just not right for me. I don't know. I feel like I haven't gotten to be a person this month. These legs are so long compared to the torso. Oh no, I can't give Hawk supermodel legs. That would just not feel right. There we go. There we go. Pare down those legs just a little bit. Also, she. It is funny that I've like drawn this like plume of smoke coming down, and then like for some reason she's like 3 centimeters to the left. There we go. There we go. Yeah. I wanna pitch the idea that like due to the explosion, like maybe the shockwave or something from the bomb, not the bomb, the explosion earlier that she set off. Well, there was a bomb involved. Is the thing. There very much was a bomb involved, just not the the bomb is what caused it, but it wasn't. The bomb wasn't the explosion that caused this. Cause and effect of explosions is a little weird, right? Like if you think about it, right, a large explosive goes off, and somebody like gets crushed under the wind pressure or something, right? If that's the case, was the explosion explicitly what killed them, or was it just a wind pressure? It's a bit of a grim thought, but like at one point, can you stop blaming the explosion? I mean, no, because like if the wind wouldn't have happened if the explosion didn't happen. Yeah, no, I feel like it is very much still like the explosion's fault. I think she just have to specify on her insurance form which of the explosions it was that caused this. You know, God, jetpack insurance must be a bitch. Can you imagine? Like car AAA already charges you out of the ass. Oh my god. No. Jetpack insurance is hell. And we're gonna have a little twinkle back here. Then we are going to have that twinkle up here. Oh boy, I get to use a spaceship again. I actually had the spaceship somewhere around here, didn't I? I feel like I did. Yeah, here you are. All right, come here, you little nerd. All right. Now the tricky part of this is one. Hang on. Can I just like elongate the spaceship? I think that's a thing you can do, right? Yeah, it totally is. All right, let's see. Turn it this way. Oh, it sounds like this one I do not vibe with the 3D model possibilities of Clip Studio Paint. Hang on. All right, if I point this thing towards me, it's going to fly away. Oh Lord, what's happening? Okay. Heaven help me, I just wanted to do some foreshortening. Oh, right. I can move it around like this. Let me shrink this guy back down a little. Yes, we're almost there. I can feel it. Okay, we can use this. Okay. Yeah. God, learning how to make models for comic work was such a big brain move. I hype up my own skills very frequently, as I rightfully should, but making models really has just been like top tier decision. Definitely in the top 10 without a doubt, top 3 maybe, possibly. I don't know. It still has yet to beat gradient mapping for just sheer application. If you take into account how many things I've done using gradient mapping, oh yeah, it's got some stiff competition. I don't know. It's not a race though. Everything that helps make the process just a little bit easier should be welcomed with open arms. Sometimes it's troublesome to learn, but that just means that I don't know. How do I put this? There are times when coming up with a solution to the problem takes more time than brute forcing the problem. But then the benefit of that solution is that you don't need to spend the time brute forcing it anymore. Ideally, if it's a good solution that you came up with, the best outcome for like an art problem is one of two things. One, you've learned enough that you can reliably handle it in the future. Or I guess this extends to just about anything, not just like artwork. Right. Either one, you figure out enough to never make it a problem again, right? So like if you run into the same problem later, you're like, I remember the thing I did this time and that worked perfectly. And you do that and it works perfectly. And it's great. Then the other situation that you should hope for is, oh no, this sucked, but it's unlikely I'll ever have to do it again. Again, that's another kind of sweet spot, is just never having to worry about having to do a very specific thing ever again. Unless you end up doing like, I don't know, some kind of like art study for yourself later on. And then you do end up having to do that stuff again, but this time on purpose. I don't know. I feel like I should do more post-mortems on my own art. It's a bit grim to refer to them as post-mortems, right? But I feel like that's the best way to describe them is as finishing an art piece and then going, okay, what did I do good and what did I do bad? Because whenever I finish an art piece, I'm like, yeah, or actually when I finish most projects, I'm like, yes, I am never going to think about this again. Which, while fine and valid, isn't really how you grow stronger, I feel. I don't know, maybe it is. If your instincts are good enough, I imagine it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Maybe. It might be. It might come back to haunt you. I should drink some water. Speaking of new and powerful art techniques, the PNG Tuber Plus thing that I've started using recently, perhaps a little too much power. Like, take the model that I'm using right now. It took like a day to put together, and this is like my first one. Right, this is like baby's itty bitty first baby model. It's got a lot of stuff under the hood that I'm not super satisfied with. There's some stuff that I wish I could do a little better. But being what it is, the first iteration of, the first generation iteration, that can't be that cannot be a common turn of phrase. Generation iteration feels like generation iteration sounds like the name of of like this book you find in like the social studies section of your library that talks about like how Gen Z is somehow becoming like the prototyping generation or something. I don't know. I don't know if that's a hang on. If that's a real book, I'm going to laugh and laugh and laugh. Generation iteration. Let's see. Generation iteration book. Okay, no. Okay, good, good, good. It isn't the book title yet. That's good. The idea that there's a book out there named Generation Iteration is kind of funny, but not enough to like laugh and laugh and laugh. Like I was talking it up earlier. I was severely overestimating how funny that would be. It's like when you show a video that you think is super funny to your friend, and you're like, all right, you just need to wait. You just need to wait. It gets funny in like 5 seconds, and your friend is just kind of like sitting there very patiently, and you're like starting to sweat bullets because the funny part isn't coming fast enough, and you think you're losing them, and suddenly the video doesn't seem that funny anymore to you either. Uh, I took a little bit of damage just imagining that situation. I'm not gonna lie, that's a real bad happenstance. It sucks when that happens. I wouldn't call myself a niche person, generally speaking. I feel like my tastes are very generic, but I do feel like whenever I suggest something, like whenever somebody asks me for like a recommendation for something, I somehow manage to give like the worst possible one I can. I don't know why. Like like I think about like giving like what I like or like something that really impacted me, and I'm like, you should try out this thing, and like it's the worst, least user newbie friendly, most like hostile to being read or perceived kind of thing that one could ever try to conceive of. And I'm like, why did I suggest that? Why did I think this was a good idea? Okay, did the Meltoni design have 5 petals or just like 4? One, two, three. Okay, it had 5, plus the big one. Okay. Let's put it this way, then this way. No, hang on. Wait, I can just flip this upside down. Today I'm a genius. Oops, Daisy. And there we go. All right, with a couple of extra latches here and there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do first. We are going to copy and paste this so I don't lose the hard work I've done on the ship, of whose lower half I have definitely not forgotten to draw, but I will do so regardless. All right, let's see here. Bottom half of the ship. It's always like something on the bottom half. I'm very good at remembering like top half details, but then bottom half details are just like a murky blur to me. Like I remember tails and like or like ponytails and such being super hard for me to remember doing. I think during the Artifighter from 2022. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. We can erase this part right here. All right, high five brain. Now let's draw the actual thing that's happening in this panel. Let's see. Okay. And that's going to be a ratio just like nabbing straight up like have you ever had a moment where you've like caught a fly in midair? That's kind of what a ratio is doing now, but with an entire person. Okay. Let's see here. How did I have the Okay. All right, I need to clean up the area right around here. It also does almost look like Horatio is going in for the right hook. But no, he's going for the jetpack. What if I hooked it with his actual cane? That would be kind of funny. Hang on, that would actually be hilarious. Okay, would the cane be this way? Hang on, how did I have it on the plan that I made? Alright, I think the more important thing for the moment might actually be to like make Hawk's pose make sense. Like just like make some more space around here. Okay, there we go. I need to work with a thinner line brush. How about like 18? 18 should be good. Then move this over here. Actually remove the leg altogether right here. Did I have a sketch? Yeah, okay. Almost like doubled over would be good. Oh god. I just had the idea that like Horatio could try to like clothesline poor Hawk, but no, that's too much. This does almost look like that is what's happening, though. God, Hawk just having the absolute one of the worst days of her life. She was shot at, exploded, fell through the sky, and then she's getting bungee corded against her own jetpack. Oh, this poor woman. Unfortunately, it's one of the worst days of her life yet. Just the worst day. I don't know. I don't know if like Hawk is going to have days physically worse than this. Like emotionally for sure, but like physically, it's gonna be kind of tough to match it. You know, like I feel like physically, she's already run the Rasputin speed run. I don't know. She hasn't been poisoned today. You know, on this day specifically, she might have been. I don't know. She might have been poisoned and she just didn't notice. Like you can see like one of those like Pokemon status effect icons just pop up over her head, and she's like, I wouldn't even notice the kind of shit I got going on. I do wonder if sleep deprivation feels different for different people. I remember seeing a post floating around that said that when on days when somebody hadn't slept very much, or like after they pulled an all nighter, they felt like a low res version of themselves. For me, it's more like if I haven't slept very well, or if I haven't slept at all, right? In the morning, I just feel like lightheaded. Like, I don't feel myself, so to speak. I don't feel like less like myself. I just feel like a version of myself that like can't function properly. Yeah, like if I'm going to be like working the next day and I haven't had a good amount of sleep, I just know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to make any executive decisions. Right? Hmm. Like it's also a difficult thing, right? Because very few people want to feel sleep deprived. It's a horrible feeling. I read the other day, right? After playing Lake Ophelia, I tried to Mysteries Under Lake Ophelia. I looked up a little bit more about trypophobia, right? Which is like the fear of lots of little holes arranged together. And apparently, like there's okay, so phobias, right? The study of phobias, the kind of definition of it requires intense fear as a reaction. It doesn't necessarily like disgust. Disgust is also a factor, but like the predominant qualifier for having a phobia is an acute sense of fear whenever you're exposed to the subject in question. And some people, and after like for some reason, trypophobia has become much more. Well, no, I shouldn't say for some reason. It's because of the internet. The internet has helped people like understand. Oh, I have this fear, right? This is a specific fear. I have like, it's not just me that's weird. It's like this is an actual fear that other people also share. So that's why trypophobia has become much more. I want to say commonplace, more understandable, more accessible. Feels like a weird word to use for a phobia, but essentially, more people understand what it is. Is this the right wing that's broken? No, it's the other wing that's broken. This one's just busted a little bit, I guess. I need to narrow down some of these lines. Anyway, I was reading up on trypophobia, and it turns out that the reason that a lot of like fear responses are studied, but disgust isn't, is because, well, what kind of maniac wants to subject themselves to a study of disgust? Right? Like if part of the study is to get disgusted on purpose, like that's just not a pleasant sensation, which is why some people think that maybe it just hasn't been explored as much. I don't know that this is according to Wikipedia. God, remember when Wikipedia wasn't a reliable source? Like it's not still it's still not fully reliable, I reckon. Like in some respects it might not capture the full picture, certainly. But fucking nowadays if you told somebody you can't trust Wikipedia, they would look at you like you're in La La Land. I mean, I don't know. To what extent can you trust Wikipedia? Because I would trust Wikipedia for like a large number of things, but at the same time, like what I don't trust is stuff like YouTube and TikTok. Like those for sure, I don't trust to be like good sources. But like Wikipedia. Like the other day, right? I was trying to learn more about Hawking radiation for an idea I had. So what Hawking radiation is, if you imagine a black hole. Okay, so basically, at all times, broadly speaking, at all times, there are invisible molecules. Well, obviously they're not invisible, they're just very, very tiny. But there are molecules popping in and out of existence. And the reason they pop in and out of existence, they spontaneously generate, right? We have a positive charge molecule and a negative charge molecule that pop into existence, freshly born, first day on Earth. They have no idea what the fuck is going on. Now, usually what happens in any reasonable situation is that they pop back together at the end because they attract each other. They're kind of like a bonded pair. and they turn to zero because, positive and negative, that's like a neutral. So easy business, nothing really to worry about. Just like some things popping in and out of existence at a scale so tiny and inconceivably insignificant that we don't ever have to worry about it. Usual stuff for physics. The funky thing happens when you put them close to a black hole. So, what I neglected to mention about these positive and negative charges is that they are based on. Okay, so protons, electrons, and neutrons, right? Protons are the positive ones. Electrons are the. Excuse me. Electrons are the negative ones. And then neutrons are the neutral ones. What's really fun, right, is that you would think that each of these is like an electron and a proton, but in reality, it's like a fucked up evil version of each of these. So protons actually have a negative charge version that is made up of antimatter called an antiproton, which has a negative charge. And likewise, an electron has a positive variant that is made out of antimatter called a positron. Okay, so we have so naturally this is what they are. So like if an electron pops into existence, a corresponding positron also pops in, and they cancel each other out. Again, perfectly normal business as far as the universe is concerned. That's not really a big deal. It's literally happening all the time right now. It's a fresh new thing. Well, no, it's been happening for like a few millennia at this point, so I doubt it's either fresh or new. Well, actually, no. These things are only a couple of microseconds old each, at most. So I don't think it's it is technically new each time it happens, but it's not particularly fresh. All right, so we got positrons and protons and antiprotons, electrons and positrons. So what does that mean when you throw a black hole into the mix? So a black hole is kind of a nasty subject, right? Like if we make a black hole like look like this, for example, so pretend that this background is like a galaxy or something, right? And the black hole is just like absorbing all the space around it. A black hole sucks things in. So what happens when you're very close to like the edge of a black hole is that you have like the event horizon. So once you pass the event horizon, right? Once you pass the event horizon, you can't get out. That's this side is safe. This side is like you're officially now in the black hole. There is no escape. Beg for your life like the dog you are, etc., etc. All that negative jazz. So this process that I was talking about back here is also happening right up to the border of the black hole. So what happens sometimes is that when these positive negative molecules pop into existence, right? Sometimes they will pop like right in the middle of the event horizon. Like they will pop close enough that one of them will get sucked up. And so they will just not be able to go back to zero. Because one of them is in the event horizon and one of them isn't. The one that hangs out near the event horizon just kind of starts existing. And what ends up happening is that because the ones that hang out that usually get sucked up into the black hole, the ones that get sucked up into the black hole are made out of antimatter, it actually reduces the entire mass of the black hole, making it smaller. And at the same time, because of the way that black holes work, I don't remember the exact science behind it, but because of the way the black holes work, this gets faster as the black hole gets smaller. So you have all of these like matter, all of this matter kind of like chilling out near the edge of the black hole that actually starts radiating heat. So a big black hole, right? Like a big black hole will be very cold and have very little of this going on. Conversely, a tiny black hole will be fucking the little black hole will be going ham. All right, the little black hole will be having an absolute moment. It's gonna be it's having a rough time of its life. It's so full of antimatter, you guys. So the temperature around it is naturally very, very high because it's happening more frequently. They didn't go into detail what happens when the black hole eventually reaches like a point where it can no longer. This is such a funny little guy. Anyway, they didn't go into detail what happens when like the black hole eventually like reaches a what do you call like at the point of no return where it can no longer continue existing. Like I imagine something very bright and powerful happens. But yeah, that's how a black hole dies essentially. Oh lordy. Anyway, that was like the explanation I got from YouTube. And the explanation from Wikipedia was similar, but not. It disagreed in a couple of ways, which I found inconvenient wouldn't be the word. Suspicious is also not the word. What word would I use? In any case, it ended up disagreeing on a couple of fronts. There we go. Okay, now we can start panel 2, which we had an inside view of the ship in the original panel 2, but the problem is like that's facing the entire wrong way. So we're gonna have to do that from scratch a little bit. Okay, move it this way. God. Anyway, also like big asterisk on the explanation of the Hawking radiation. First of all, not a physicist. Clearing that up first, and so there might be some inconsistencies with like the actual explanation for what these are. That was the explanation as best as I understood it. And second of all, feels fair to mention that this also has not been observed as a natural phenomenon. Well, no, that it hasn't been observed much in general. I don't feel like we know it's out there. We know that it's real. I think, but we haven't been able to see a black hole. What happens when a black hole gets evaporated like that. First hand's a weird way to put it. We haven't been able to observe such an instance because um, just by the nature of how tiny of a scale it's working at, right? Like if you think about one molecule, how big that is, and how much of a dent it makes in something that's like as dense as several billion suns, right? It makes sense that we haven't been able to see what happens when it reaches a boiling point yet. That being said, I would like to see it. I would like to see it once. Maybe just one time I would like to see it. Just to get what all the fuss is about. I would like to see it once. Let's see. Yeah, just a one time. No big deal. It's only proof that the big freeze is never going to really happen properly. you know. Yeah. That is like also one of the like if you're thinking about the big freeze fate of the universe, right? Like a lot of people have heard about the big crunch or like Big Bang, very obviously most popular one because that's how the universe was created. Big crunch is what was thought to be the case for a long, long time. The big freeze is like the current prevailing theory, from what I understand, that eventually, a lot of the heat in the universe is going to run out. Wow, big, 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 scary thing. But like then we were like, okay, so the universe is now just full of black holes. Now what? And so Hawking radiation is kind of like the then what, right? Like the world is full of black holes now, and also like they're slowly evaporating too. So eventually, now, after a long, long time, the galaxy will just be quiet. The entire universe will just be, the last black hole will kind of evaporate, and now we'll have it'll be chill, quite literally. So okay, there we go. Another big benefit of having to use, or not having to use, opting to use a PNG tuber model is now I don't have to worry about going quiet because, you know, sometimes when I go quiet, it's because I'm drinking water and I just like mute my microphone so y'all don't hear it. But other times it is like because I'm sneezing or something. But the problem is like with a live 2D model, you can still see what's going on behind the curtain, so to speak. Right, because you can still see it still captures my movements to some extent. That's not an issue with PNG tubing. And honestly, I kind of prefer it that way. It's not a good thing to be too guarded, but I do like having like privacy of my actions behind the camera, if that makes sense. I wish to be inscrutable outside of being a funny rice man. Minimizing the mortifying ordeal of being known. Yeah. The thing is, people talk sweet on the mortifying ordeal of being known, but like do people need to know every aspect of you? Right? Like, yes, you're laying your heart vulnerable and bare for the world to see, but also like do they need to know that you're drinking water? Is taking a sippy really that vital of a of an aspect to your character? Is my question. I mean, I don't know. Like, is it? Like, I feel like it's okay for some people to not know a few things about me. It's not so much the mortifying ordeal of being known, so much as the awkward tribulation of casual grossness. Again, the thing is, right? Drinking water isn't gross or anything. It's actually one of the best things for you. But like through a microphone, it can be pretty bad, dude. It can be real bad. Oh, poor. I gotta. Horatio's expression in this panel is, I'm very proud of. It's like that one Detective Pikachu expression. All right, there we go. God, ever since I first laid eyes on it, that one expression from Detective Pikachu has just lived rent free in my mind. Let's go. Okay. There we go. And then just like this. There we go. Okay. We'll also have to change the direction of the horn a little bit here. Also, we'll have to make Horatio's head way smaller. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it would be too cruel to have Hawk just like get dragged into the ship with the strap snapping and her just getting thrown onto the ground. I feel like that again, a little too cruel. Oh, right, those are wrinkles. Let me change my strategy a little bit then. Okay, change this around. All right, perfect. All right, then. Actually, I'm going to drag Horatius. I'm going to melt Horatius face downward just a little bit. It's going to apply just a little bit of heat to the wax. There we go. Actually, unfortunately, I do think that like Hawk's dynamic entry into the vehicle would be, but I really like this Horatio expression as the thing. Okay, maybe we move this to the next panel. Maybe we move this to the next panel just for a quick second. Thunk. I can just imagine the sound of the helmet hitting the ship floor. Hawk's Day is just not getting better. Poor girl. There's a little bit. I remember distinctly also making another comic where Hawk is also just not having a great time while Horatio's just like barely hurt. Like the whole bit was like Horatia's having a nice relaxing day while Hawk is just inadvertently getting into all the adventures of her life, getting roughed up, and unfortunately, she has a fulfilling day. She saves a day, but like she would have also wanted a nice little break, I imagine. We could all do with a nice little break every now and again, I feel. Maybe not every day. Sometimes you do have to go beast mode for the sake of going beast mode. Like the thing is, right? Working every day sounds exhausting until like I don't know. I get like the productivity zoomies. Like some days I'm like, okay, no, today I go beast mode, and then I go beast mode, and then other days it's like, okay, today I go beast mode, and then I don't. The beast mode is a fickle mistress. You should not rely on the beast mode for sustainable quantities of productivity. God. To be fair, I imagine that after animals get like the zoomies, right? They also feel super exhausted and feel like they don't want to do that again after a while. So I imagine in that regard, I think it's actually quite appropriate to call like my zoomies the beast mode. Putting the in front of it makes it sound much more impressive or like codified than it actually is. Right? Like it's just me being productive. Calling it the beast mode implies a certain degree of, I don't know, magnificence, I suppose. Like if you call something beast mode, right? If you just call something beast mode, that's like normal, right? That's like a bit almost even. If you call something the beast mode, that's like okay now. Like I'm imagining in my mind flipping a big lever, like in the Men in Black movie where they had like the big button of the car, right? You hit that and it goes like full beast mode or the beast mode. There we go. Also, I mentioned Hawk earlier doing the Rasputin speed run. I feel like even Rasputin would have a hard time surviving an EMP, so I think she's got one over on him in that regard. I feel like an EMP is much more difficult to survive than being poisoned. Poisoning has a specific certainty to it, but then getting blasted by an EMP is like getting shot twice over. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Rasputin needs to get on Hawk's level. More like the mid monk. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. Recently, I've been getting into a channel that does like short form documentaries or video essays on the Smash Brothers Melee scene. Something that I will never get into, but I enjoy observing at a distance. I don't know. Like the thing is, Smash Brothers Melee, for as bad of a reputation as it gets in the fighting game community, was unfortunately a very big part of my childhood. So I cannot, in good faith, be like, yeah, no, I can't stand them. Like I feel like if I had seen the tricks that I'd seen now, as a kid, I'd be like, "Oh wow, you mean Fox can like triple backflip off of like Falco and instant kill from 30%? No kidding. Sign me up, mister." The thing that I've always liked about the fighting game community is, however, that it just has a great kind of passionate spirit to it, a very infectious kind of passion to it, which is why even something like, you know, everybody has like their super hype moments, and I think that's awesome that we can appreciate all those. That there's so many to choose from because people keep doing impressive things with their characters in the game. That's also a good part of it. Is just seeing the insane things that people can pull off. Like the one that I watched most recently is this one on a Japanese player called Amsa, who is a Yoshi main. And from what I've come to understand about Melee is that Yoshi sucks as a character because he doesn't have a lot of the same tools that a lot of like the high level characters do. He has a unique set of tools that can also help him, but like, it's not nearly enough to compensate for some of the losses that come from not having the tool set of like a S tier character, right? But Ansa didn't really care about all that. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing," and then he did. like he consistently ranked in the top 10s, top 8s of tournaments with Yoshi at a time at one point. So like even being within like the top 50 players in the world with a character that everybody agrees is pretty awful to play with or pretty difficult to master. Not even difficult to master, just awful to play with, really, because difficult to master implies like the character can be good, but like I feel like with Yoshi the whole implication was like, no, this dinosaur is unfortunately just not it's not made out of the right material. There we go. Okay, let me grab this arm, put this down a little, put this up. Oh yeah, she also has like a huge gash on the shoulder as well from the laser fire. Not to mention the burns on the arm. Oh man. Aloe vera is going to be like the minimum. Right? Like after a day like this, you need like a spot treatment. There we go. I don't know. Would Horatio be able to like get those little like those like nose wrinkles when you do a lot of effort? I think like he would. I feel like he looks a little bit like a Goomba. Like this. Let's see. Oh yeah. I've been heartbroken to find out recently that my I like to have things called like reset buttons, right? These are like if I'm not feeling fully grounded, or like if I'm not like if I feel like I need like a pick me up, I can use these things as a reset button. You know, it's like, okay, no, we're getting like a fresh start today. It can be a lot of different things, right? Like some of them are relaxing, like some of them are like taking a full proper bath, not just a shower, like a proper bath. You know, running a nice hot bath, putting on like a face mask or something. You know, little self care things like that. But other ones are more high energy, right? So like one of the ones that has been my go to for a long time is Ultra Kill, a game called Ultra Kill. And Ultra Kill is a very fast-paced shooter that is a lot of fun. I recommend it if you really like movement tech and stuff like that. But I'm not super great at Ultra Kill, but it works really well for me because in that game I get to punch shotgun bullets faster than light, and they explode, and it's great. And you know, having to like juggle all those different things is useful because that way I have like that physical kind of reset button, right? Where it's like, oh man, I feel the adrenaline. I feel like the rush of having to fight all these different things at once, trying to like juggle the shotgun projectile acceleration, all that. I feel great. You know, it's like I'm activating all my neurons at once. There we go. Also, if you're wondering why the perspective on the jetpack looks a little busted right now, that's because I'm going to fix it in a second. What would the inside of a jetpack look like, even? I'm picturing like at least some lumbar support, maybe. You know, just a little bit of lumbar support. I don't know. Is lumbar support really kind of like an enticing thing when you're making a jetpack? Because I feel like in a jetpack, you're almost encouraged to use it very little, right? Because it's a very expensive tool. It's a very like difficult to handle tool. So I imagine, much like Icarus, the addictive properties of being able to soar through the skies like a bird should be moderated almost by design, really, as a matter of course. I mean, I would design it that way. I don't know. People do a lot of stupid things that wreck their posture, even if it doesn't have the benefit of flying. So who am I to judge? There we go. There we go. Man, I wonder what kind of leather the straps on the jetpack would have to be made out of, because I imagine they have to be like fairly sturdy. I don't know, maybe it could be like some kind of like faux leather that's actually much stronger than the real thing. There we go. Have the sky back here. Have a ratio with a sad, tired Pikachu face back here. Which side does Horatio use the cane on? It'd be the opposite side of the horn, right? Oh, dang it, I always forget this. Let's see here. Nope. Maybe? Yes, okay, he uses a cane with the left hand. Wait, then why would he be using the right hand to... You know what, forget it. I'll say that it was for the bit. Yeah, I'll say it was for the bit. I don't want to add too many lines is the thing as well. Like, that's the big danger here. There we go. Now even smaller and back here. Okay, I have a screen right here. This is why I had those references of like different helicopter consoles on screen. God, just looking at this thing makes me want to vomit. Like, how do you even keep track of all these buttons? Why do some of these look like knobs? What's wrong with you? Is this one running Super Mario? Is this one running fucking... What was the one where that game like bundled? The one where it's just like two dudes in a pipe with like shells? Mario Plumber Mario Sewer Game. Oh, was it just Mario Brothers? Is that? I think it might have just been Mario Brothers. Yeah, it was just Mario Brothers. It wasn't Super Mario Brothers. That's the one with the side scrolling. Okay. Right. So Donkey Kong started the franchise. Then it was the Mario Brothers, and then it was everything else after that, which took a while to get through. Oh man, remember when like trying to run through the entire Mario franchise was just like 17 games, like maybe 10 years ago? No, it would have been way more than that by that point. Way more, even like 10 years ago. I don't even want to think about how many it would be. Also, I want Hawk to still be a little bit smoky. Listen, she got roasted, right? She got roasted a little bit. She deserves to have a nice smoky, a little bit of hickory in there, a little bit of mesquite. Is mesquite a type of wood that you can smoke with? I remember seeing it in Fallout. Hang on. Mesquite. Smoke mesquite. Let's see. Smoke it. Yeah, you can smoke meat with mesquite wood. Okay. Nice. Nice. I don't know. I used to be a big fan of like liquid smoke. I used to love dumping that and stuff, but the I don't know. Maybe it's because I got a different flavor and I just have not been vibing with it. But recently I've started shying away from that, shying away from the liquid smoke. Let me take a look at the script one more time. Signature jetpack. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think the helmet stays on for the time being. This nice cushy seat for the captain of the ship. Okay. I like to imagine Horatio still like hanging onto the jetpack like it's almost like a safety blanket now. Ah, yes. Me, my bestie professor, and the 300-pound, 30-pound jetpack that he sleeps with as a security blanket. I feel like for some reason this cannot be the first situation where that joke applies. You know, there's a phrase, right? There's nothing new under the sun, but I feel like that's original enough for it to not be common. But I don't think it would have been like. I don't think I've that's me. I don't think that's Pab's original. I feel like somebody must have said it at some point. I feel like enough things have a cool enough jetpack where somebody could justify you using that meme template. And if not, I mean, I feel like that's almost a waste. Don't get me wrong, I'll happily take the crown, but I don't know, something about it seems disingenuous. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna paint it with a different color right now. I kind of need this to be dead on, but like facing downward. Hang on, I almost need this to be more extreme as well. I should also be doing this on a different layer. BT dubs. That's just good practice. We need to make this entire panel smaller, I think. Like, Horatio is already so tiny, but like it's going to be difficult to fit in any text. Also, now looking at it from a different perspective, we do need to make Horatio maybe a little bit bigger. Small Horatio is a funny concept, but we do need to maintain some degree of continuity. I'm not completely shameless. Okay, boost the size of him. Okay, grab this. I don't know. The hand needs to be. I think we can make the hand just a little bit smaller. Or rather, the arm a little bit smaller. And by extension, Hawk a little bit smaller. Actually, the arm can be a bit longer. You know, as recompense. I think that's how orangutans were made. They're like, oh man, I feel bad making this monkey so short. I shall give it longer arms. I don't know. Orangutans are one of those beasts that just seem to be like kind of primordial in nature. You know how you like look at like a at a horseshoe crab, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that thing is like old, right? You don't get that vibe from like crocodiles, surprisingly enough, despite them being one of the oldest guys. But like you look at something, and you're like, oh, okay, so you've been around for a hot minute, huh? I get that vibe from orangutans. I feel like orangutans should be much older than they probably actually are. As a species, I mean, not like I don't reckon most orangutans have like survived the industrial age or anything. I don't believe in the orangutan vampire conspiracy. I feel like if any monkey would be a vampire, it'd be those snow capuchins that hang out in Japanese hot springs. Like I feel like they've got it figured out. You know, from what I understand, they have like a power structure as well. But like, you know, if 90% of your life is just figuring out, am I in a hot spring? Yes. If 90% of your life is just a flowchart, that's like, am I in a hot spring? Yes or no. If I'm not in the hot spring, how do I get in the hot spring? I feel like you could be doing worse. I feel like you're doing fairly well for yourself at that point. Ugh. Maybe I should just hang on. Can I do this on like the actual seat itself instead of just a headrest? Or actually, hang on. Idea moment. I say idea moment as if though that's just not what an idea is normally. I guess that'd be light bulb moment, huh? That's actually been a I feel like light bulb moment has definitely been coined far before the like like something or other moment phrase became part of popular modern internet vernacular. Before the phrase became popularized among common slang. Let's see. Okay, big button here, big button there. Okay, go back to the other layer. I feel like getting back onto the ship in like most sci-fi stories is like the equivalent of calling base when you in like hide and seek. Like once you get to the ship, things are usually safe. And I feel like that's intentional, right? Like with sci-fi video games, sci-fi movies, you know, there's this one article that I read about Amnesia: The Dark Descent. God, remember when everybody was lining up around the block to talk to you about Amnesia: The Dark Descent? Oh, those were simpler times. Remember when like the most popular YouTube bait horror game was Amnesia: The Dark Descent? Oh God. Oh, I those were the days. Those were the good old days. Oh God. It's hard to believe that those were the good times. uh, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, hell, I'm gonna play Signalis soon. I'm gonna be exposed to like some of the best some of the best content horror has to offer. Modern contemporary horror has to offer directly from the tap soon. So I don't know why I'm whining about horror being like the good old about him. Well, no, I guess I'm just nostalgic for that period of time in my life, right? Those were the times when I barely had responsibilities, although I did have obligations. They are not the same thing. Obligations and responsibilities are not the same thing. Anyway, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, right? In that game, there is a part of the game where you hang out in this like very cool mansion room that has like a fountain in it and everything. And but that being said, that fountain room is like a safe space. When you get to the fountain room, it's like you don't need to worry about monsters. You don't need to worry about beasties. You don't need to worry about ghouls. It's fantastic. You know, for a game that like popularized the concept of just getting chased around with no means to defend yourself. Well, no, I imagine other games did that before, but you know, it kind of introduced that idea of like it introduced like the Outlast closet, right? Which is a concept that I've coined just now by myself. Outlast didn't popularize it, Amnesia did, but I feel like Outlast is like the most egregious example of it because there's just so many random lockers and stuff that you just hide in during Outlast. It's like part of the core gameplay, and it is also part of the core gameplay in Amnesia: The Dark Descent. But that one also places emphasis on stuff like your matches, your I don't know. I feel like Outlast was much more shocking, which is why it had a lot more coverage. Like Amnesia: The Dark Descent was fresh, but Outlast was like very shocking. I remember for the time. I mean, my God, they showed a Peter directly on camera on screen. The scandal. Can you imagine? Oh. Anyway, there's this room in the game where you don't need to worry about monsters. But then eventually you start to see that the room starts getting little by little corrupted by some of the stuff you're doing until eventually the room is no longer safe. And like that's like a big shocking moment. Like when you come back to the room and you're like, okay, this place has been getting pretty bad recently. Like I need to do some cleaning, but it's fine. At least there's no monsters. And then there's a monster. You're like, oh fuck, there's a monster. In any case, that's kind of like what the hell was I talking about? I lost the thread of how we got here. Oh well, that's fine. I was more or less done with the topic of conversation anyway. Okay, put this over here. Make the helmet just a little bit bigger. Man, I'm honestly really excited for Signals. I've heard a lot of people talking good stuff about it, so I'm very excited to try it out for myself. Although I did see V say that she used a guide to play it, so I don't know if it's going to be particularly difficult to get through by myself. I don't know if it's going to be like one of those like real hardcore experiences where just like unless you know the tricks of the game, it really just busts you up right out of the gate. It didn't give me the vibes of having like any roguelike elements, so I don't think that's the case. I thought that it was trying to like emulate more like Silent Hill and stuff like that, so that's why I'm not worried about like the roguelike stuff. I don't remember I don't think there's even been a single instance of like Silent Hill ever using like roguelike elements, has there? Except maybe in like fan games or something. Yeah. I feel like there is probably like an element of randomization for like where certain creatures pop up. Like I know like freaking Pyramid Head, for example, was like one of those things that just like chased you around the whole map, right? Like, and it could like pop up like just about anywhere. I remember that was also the case for Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 or 3. No, yeah, it was 3. It was 3. There we go. Okay, we're finally done with panel 3. 4. Panel 4. Okay, this thing would close shut. We'd have the little arch here for the captain's seat. Maybe have it be a square door. Okay, there we go. Oh man, we are gonna have so much crap littered on the floor in this scene. And I need to make the ratio bigger again. Dude was just too big for his own good. Let's see, okay. Okay, down here. There we go. All right, I'm gonna need to work a little bit on the foreshortening on this panel because something about it seems very unnatural right now. Is the helmet again? God dang it. Actually, all of Hawk seems a little bit busted right now. Let me make her bigger. Okay. Then in this panel, we are going to push the throttle. Have a nice dynamic shot of a hand on like a big switch. Pull the lever, Kronk! Ka-chunk. Wrong lever! Never. That bit will never get old. Never. Not until the end of time. Seriously, The Emperor's New Groove had so many top tier comedy moments. I wouldn't even call it underrated because everybody says The Emperor's New Groove is really good, and it is. But what a good, funny movie. Okay. What's that effect? This here we go. All right, let's see. Miltonia launches itself at incredible speeds, curving upwards towards the star. A sonic boom accentuating its verticality as it goes supersonic. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let me do something with this real quick before we wrap up today. Let me drag this curve a little bit to this side and a little bit down. Okay, cool. We can have like a kind of purplish blur here, showing where the ship was. And over here. And we can have like a slight gradient towards the sky here. Whew. All right. And time. I've done good work today. I think a lot of it really was just kind of ironing out the what I'd worked out during today. I'm glad that I took the time to kind of consider this off stream for how it should be done, because I was not having a great time with the original setup, but now it feels a lot more cohesive. There we go. Actually, a few more action lines. Just a few more action lines. Come on. I shan't begrudge myself a few more action lines. Good chunk. What would be a nice touch would be like having a little bit of red text here saying entering warp speed. What's the word for like when a object breaks away from the stratosphere or like from Earth's pull? Untethering? Was that the word? Was it escape velocity? Literally called just escape velocity. Hit the bricks per hour. Hang on, and I'm gonna just move around the hang on. There we go. Okay. All right, that should wrap it up for today. I think I'm going to end things here for the time being. Yeah, I think we've done some good work. I will say, hang on. Is it possible to do a shout out even if somebody hasn't? / shout out at Mialita. My friend Mialita is currently having a celebrathon. Is that going to work? So please go check out her channel. She has a lot of fun. And she does a lot of cool things. Yeah, she's a very sweet kid. So go say hi. All right. Later. Bye.